be cutting back the jungle away from our house because you got to kind of keep it off of the house. And like, I'm just thinking, I'm like, oh my God, like I could probably be using this stuff for tea or like and so like every now and again it kills me because I got to cut back the jungle and I'm like, there's so many things here I could be using, you know what I mean?
Probably just so many different types of plants that you're cutting through. Oh man, that must be so crazy.
It's tough, man. But
you did a good job of figuring out what to put on your wound.
Now, actually, the stuff that I used to heal my wound was actually plants that I had harvested here and that I'd brought with me. So actually, like, I don't know the plants. Like, if I didn't have, what I used was yarrow, which is a flower that grows here. Actually, it grows like a weed here. You can find it in a lot of places.
No kidding.
And so you take the flower, you dry the flower, you powder it, and it's amazing for staunching blood flow, but it's also antibacterial, antimicrobial, antifungal.
Wow. Yeah, go up. Let's backtrack a little bit. What happened to your foot?
Like,
what happened to your
We're sidetracking the most
We haven't even
probably
talked about the foot.
ever. Oh my goodness.
We got to talk about the foot.
So I woke up one lovely island morning and I had my tea, I had my mangoes, and I was sitting out there and my buddy Volton, he says, we should really go back to the back of the house. There's some things we got to cut back there. It's growing up in the house. He's afraid of snakes, so he's always like,
ooh, that's a bad place to be.
Fucking snakes are going to climb up the trees and into my fucking window and bite me by. And so I had to go cut the stuff. So I'm back there with the machete and I'm like, yeah, no problem, cutting. And all of a sudden, like, something stings me. And like, there's, like we were talking about the bug life, there's a lot of different bees, wasps, ants. I didn't see what bit me. I have a sneaking suspicion I know what it was. There's this type of ant there whose mandibles stay at
is it like a bullet ant?
Yeah, it's something like that. Dude, its mandibles are at a perfect line, and it's almost like they got it like hinged.
Like a pair of dikes?
Yeah. And it's almost like they unhinge, and they go whop, and they like...
Oh,
but you can... I've held one
foot.
down, and I've seen it, and you can hear...
It clicking.
Wow. It bites so hard, and so I think that's probably what got me.
Did it bite you? Like...
Something bit me.
Hard?
Dude, so hard, bad? Like, yeah, it was like a really good bee sting.
So hard you noticed and decided to try to...
So hard that I instinctually went to go swat it away as quick as I possibly could with a machete in my hand.
Perfect.
So,
OSHA approved.
Just another
totally
day.
OSHA approved. The thing was rusty. I had sharpened it like a couple days ago.
But how do you get around that? Because let's be honest, that's probably a perfectly reasonable instinct in that moment with something that stings you that bad. Because if it's worse than a bee sting, let's relate that. Because most people only know what a bee sting feels like.
Yeah.
Now imagine like what? How many times worse than that?
Dude, it's got to be like 5 times worse.
Yeah.
It was
unimaginable for most of us.
It was
because
rough.
I'm just thinking about a bee sting.
And honestly, if the scenario were different and I had just been bitten by like a snake that just latched onto my foot, I would have looked like the coolest dude on the earth because in the same second that snake had bit my foot, it would have been decapitated.
Yeah. It would have been perfect.
It was less than a second. I swung this thing. And so whatever. Needless to say,
too bad it was an ant.
I chopped the top of my foot open to the bone with this machete. I just look down and I see like
somebody says something that sounds like it hurts and it makes your balls hurt.
Dude, I hate that.
Oh, dude.
Dude, I look down at my foot and I see the bones and tendons in my foot, and I'm like, oh my God. I said, did I I sit there for a minute. I'm like, did I really just do that to myself?
No, it's normal.
I'm like, holy shit. I'm like, wow, that was quick. And so this is the thing is I really actually amazed myself with how calm and collected I was because I have like, me and my friends, we skateboard, we mountain bike, we do all this like stupid risky shit where people hurt themselves really bad. And like, there are times I'll be hanging out with my friends and they'll be like, oh, you remember that time we were here and this dude like cracked his skull open, and they get into these stories and just hearing it, I've like vomited, like got to feeling it so bad. I'm like so queasy. I'm like, oh my God. But when I was in that scenario, I'm like super clear headed.
Yeah.
I was like good to go. And I realized almost in the same moment, I'm like, I have exactly what I need. And so like, I just walked back into the house. I grabbed the powder. And so I just start packing this wound with flowers. And like, it's not working.
That's smart.
Yeah.
It's funny how a situation like that really helps you like evoke, what's the word?
Like a primal instinct, like a...
God, I can't remember the word for the life of me. God, what's it called when you're like almost meditating?
Oh yeah, like a
transcendent, like
a trance sort of thing. I don't know, but I got what you mean. Where you're like kind of like ascend above like this physical thing, and you're kind of like so clear and concise.
In other words, you're able to focus directly on what you need to do.
Exactly.
And there's kind of that's it. Like I remember this year actually, we went and hiked the Franconia Ridge in the White Mountains.
Oh, nice.
And we ended up backtracking like 2 miles, getting lost. Not lost because we knew where we were, but we didn't realize we had gone 2 miles extra down the wrong path.
Oh,
so that's
yeah.
a 4 mile mistake.
Yeah.
And it started raining up there.
Oh my God.
So it's like it was fun, and we weren't in any real danger in my mind, but it was fun that there was that much conflict in it that you kind of realize, well, the only other option is dying.
Right, where you,
And
exactly.
that's
You get into
so
that state where you have
meditative.
to do, exactly. You
So
have
meditative.
to take care of things
Yeah.
and get it done. And that was, it was cool for me to experience that and be in that moment because I was just astounded later on. I didn't even think of it, obviously, in the moment, but later on I was like, wow, I handled that really well.
Yeah.
And
It
so
was
whatever.
fun, 40-mile-an-hour winds.
Dude. And so whatever, I went up to my room, I grabbed the stuff, I start packing the wound. And I was thinking, because I've used Yarrow to close cuts and stuff before, but I was like, should I be really putting this
This much.
into my bones? We'll see how this goes.
It was probably smart because, I mean, the best thing other than that would be to cauterize it probably if it was bleeding a lot. And it's like,
and even
that's
that,
even more pain.
And that's the thing, too, is like my living situation. I'm staying up in a house on the top of a mountain in the middle of the jungle that takes like a
Parasympathetic.
half hour to walk down the road. You know what I mean? I got to walk like a half hour down a mountain dirt road to get home and out away from home to the main road. So like, what am I going to do? I have my foot cut to the bone and I'm just going to walk for 45 minutes down a mountain
Oof,
and then
right.
get to the road and hope somebody's going to stop and give me a ride. Hey, could you guys?
That's
So you
crazy.
had all the stuff on you?
I had it up in my room.
Oh,
And
nice.
so I went, I grabbed that stuff, I start packing the wound full of those flowers, and like, it's not stopping. And I had
Ugh.
used probably like 70% of what I had, and I was like, fuck. I was like, if I can't get this thing closed, like, what am I gonna do?
Right.
And so I just like held it there, like with my hand for a while, and was just
How
like,
far was the hospital away, you think?
oh my God. Again, like a 45-minute walk. However long it would have taken me to get somebody to stop on the
Yeah.
road, because people care about their cars. Like, cars are a big deal down there.
Yeah.
And so, like, who's going to be like, oh, look at a white guy bleeding out on the side of the street. Let's
Yeah,
put him
come
in our
on
car.
bud.
Yeah.
No big deal.
They're just going to leave me there like, oh, good luck, dude.
Just stick your
But-
foot out the window the whole time.
Yeah,
It'll be
but
fine.
honestly,
No big
like, the nearest health center would have been probably like a 20-minute drive.
Mm.
It's not super, super far. It's a small island.
Yeah.
But, so whatever, like, finally get it to stop bleeding.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there, I'm like, okay, like, I can't move. I got to just take this easy, because if it starts again, I don't have what I need to close it a second time.
Mm-hmm.
So I just, like, took it easy. I didn't end up walking for a month.